What is going on, everyone? DJ's here with a different video today. Today, we're going to be ranking the Days of Ruin COs by how good they are. Now, I'm going to preface this by just saying that I've played 20-ish games, and we're talking standard first off. We're talking standard, not Fog of War. So I've got a pretty good sample size at this point. It's probably going to differ a bit from the other players in the community. So I'm just going to get that out of the way. Don't get angry at me. You can disagree in the comments section or whatever. I don't mind. But yeah, we're just going to rank them because people don't know how good they are. A lot of people are arguing, oh, Tabitha's this good. Oh, but Will's this bad. It's like, let's just set the record straight. Just give you the DJ's idea of how good these COs are. And yeah, so we're going to generalize by a standard map with one base, or two bases, I don't know, 3 bases, 1 airport, 1 port. Standard. We're not starting with carriers, we're not starting with landers or anything like that. We're just doing a standard map. 3 base, 1 airport, 1 port. And we'll just go from there. So, first off, let's talk about Will. Now, Will, he's a pretty damn good CO, no lie. Let's look at those stats. Look at this setup here. I got dual windows. You guys should be pretty impressed. Anyway, Will, zone radius of 2. I'd say about average, but his day-to-day is pretty damn good. All units get 10-10. I mean, every single unit in the CO zone, no matter what the CO is going to get 10-10. So it stacks here. So basically, you get 30-30, or sorry, 30 10 just for your ground units, ground direct units. So that actually includes your infantry, includes your mechs, your bikes, what have you. It is not like Max's where it's just tanks and bombers and stuff like that. No air units, but your mechs, your bikes, your infantry are all going to move, which is actually even better than the air units in my humble opinion. Having mechs move 2 spaces alongside your tanks and whatnot, very underrated. Therefore, and let's look at this guy. Yeah, like I said, 20% offense, 2+ movement. So it's the same bonuses. It's basically global, whatever is in the zone, and then you get 2+ movement. And its energy cost is 60 as standard. Not too hard to make his zone get bigger because he's got extra offense. You're going to get more kills. You're going to do more damage. It's 2 zone radius, so it's not bad. Therefore, I am putting Will into tier 1. Solid CO, upper echelon for show. So, I like Will. I like his music. He has a banger of a tune. He's a good CO overall. Crosses everything off. Anyway, now let's look at Lynn. We're going a pretty nice clip over here. Lynn, zone radius 1. Ooh, that's a drawback. Let's look at let's look at the units first. Everything in all the ground units in the CO zone are like Will, 30% offense, but they also get 30% defense rather than 10% defense. Now, this comes at a cost. That is, the zone radius is only a single one around, little square around your little thing. It can expand though, it can certainly expand. And a lot of Lynn players, well, let's go to the CO power first. It only gives you everything on the map, ground units, every ground unit on the map, you're gonna get 20/20. And +2 vision. So in standard, she's not as good. I'm just gonna throw it out there. In Fog, she's slightly better. And you can see into the forest like Sonya. Now, I think that Lynn is solid, and a lot of people, if you're in standard play, you're typically going to hold on to the CO power because you're not going to really care about that extra 20/20 ground, or that extra 2 vision per se, and seeing into forest because you're doing a standard map. And also, you want to have that nice zone of 3 when you have the max zone energy, and you kind of want to abuse that, similar to Tabitha, which we'll go into in the future. You kind of want to hold on to Lynn's power in standard. I think she's pretty solid, therefore I am plopping her down into tier 2. Solid around CO. She's like mini Tabitha. That's how I put Lynn. Mini Tabitha. Small zone. Strong units. I mean, you're going to 30-30, which is nothing to sneeze at by any means. You can put an artillery behind the tank that's the CO. Default for all of these COs, typically it's going to be a tank that you're putting your CO into. You can put an artillery behind it. You can put mechs and stuff around it. So, that's pretty solid. That's pretty solid. Now, let's look at Forsyth. Forsyth just throws everything out the window when it comes to CO powers because he has no CO powers. Boarding cost is still 50. His zone is 5. However, it does not expand. It stays static. So it's a large zone, but it can't get any bigger. Therefore, Brenner, who starts off with a zone of 3, can get up to 5 as well. So he can actually match Forsyth's zone radius. Now, let's talk about the day-to-day. It's 20/20 inside the zone. Pretty damn good. It's like everything's a veteran inside the zone. And the good thing about Forsyth is you can put your CO unit on a bike, on an infantry, anything cheap, a recon, who cares? Because it's all about the zone. It's not about the unit, because the kills don't matter. It's about the zone. So I always choose something really cheap. Usually I put him in a bike, because it's less than $4,000 to build a bike and then put a CO unit inside of it. So I kind of like that. Forsyth, it really depends on the map. The smaller the map, the better, because his whole CO zone is going to take up the map if it is a smaller map. So you typically want to have him for smaller maps. Yeah, since he doesn't have global changes like extra movement, extra whatever the hell. Since he wants a smaller map because he's not going to be using his CO power, he wants the game to end early because he wants to abuse his day-to-day rather than wait on a superpower. I'd throw Forsyth into tier 2, and I would actually put him above Lyn when it comes to standard. Now, this is a little tricky. People can disagree with me right here, but I think Forsyth, the day-to-day in standard at least, is a lot better than Lyn's. The small little dinky Lyn zone is just not going to cut it. And also, I just love having a cheap-ass CO unit. It's very underrated. Now, let's look at Calder. Calder got pretty damn nerfed. Not gonna lie right there. Let's look at little old Calder, man. Like Forsyth. Static zone radius, but it's only 2. No CO power. Just like Forsyth. Now, what's the difference? Everything in the CO zone, 25-25. Nothing to sneeze at. Stronger than Forsyth, weaker than Lyn's. So it makes sense that he's in between the zone radius. But the real thing is the 2+ HP every turn. It costs money, but it has a lot of utility. You don't want to have to withdraw your units to heal them up. And this heals the CO unit as well. So if you have a war tank, it's going to heal 2 HP every single turn. It's going to be hard to kill that bad boy. The CO units for Calder are especially hard to kill because they're going to have 25-25 plus the 20-20 from the veteran C. So it's going to be 45-45 unit that heals 2 every single turn. It's going to be hard to kill that unit. Normally I put my CO unit in a tank, but maybe for Calder, maybe put it in a mega tank. Maybe put it in a, what the hell is it called? An anti-tank? Something that's just not gonna die. So I like Calder. And I like a little Zony. It's kind of cute, but I don't like the CO power missing. Therefore, I put old Caldy-Poo, tier 2. Now, where would his ranks against these two? I'd say above Lyn, and this is a real tough one. It depends on the map size. Since we're going with average map size, I'm going to say that Calder's better. Very slightly. Because the healing is very underrated. 25-25 is actually pretty damn good. I know Forsyth gets 20-20, but 25-25, even that small extra boost is pretty damn nice. And I love the 2 HP. It's close though. I could honestly see them switching. But on a medium to large size map, I'm gonna put him there. I might change my mind. Just like in the bangers, sometimes I have a mood change. But for now, let's put him right there. Waylon. Now, Waylon is not very good. I'm just gonna throw it out there. He's a cool dude. He's got a nice little look to him. But let's look at that. The zone radius of 2, average. Day to day. He's got 10-10 for everything, as you all know, and then stacks with air units. He gets 30-40. Now, that's nothing to sneeze at. 30-40 B-Copters are not going to die in one shot to an anti-air. Bombers are going to be pretty damn hard to kill. Bombers are hard to kill by anti-air. They only do like 70% rather than like 80-85 like they did in Advanced Wars by Web. Advanced Wars 1 and 2. Bombers are stronger. The bombers got buffed. They're big, beefy, buffed bombers, alright? So, nothing to sneeze at here. Typically, you're still going to put the CO unit inside of either a B-Copter or a Duster. Maybe you put a bomber outside on the fringe. That goes in the zone later, but you're not going to typically make your CO unit a bomber. I like Waylon. He's cool, but air units are very niche, and if you only have one airport on the map, he's limited to building one single unit that gets infected by his CO powers every turn. Now let's look at the CO power itself. When you pop it, you get insane defense, basically. Your offense is going to remain the same. Instead of 30-40, you're going to have 30-300, which means anti-airs are going to be doing 20-25% to your copters. You're going to have an iron curtain of these air units. I don't really like the power that much. I mean, it has some utility if you're going to like capture as like a HQ or something and you want to block with air units, but like in the bomber, I guess you can get like free bomber can kill something and the anti-air can't do jack shit to it. Dusters can't do jack shit to it, so I guess your bombers are basically invincible. So that's not too bad, but it's just the limited to the air units that really cuts them off. So therefore, I'm putting old Whaley-Poo into tier 3. Not the worst tier, mind you. Not the worst tier. He's not too bad. I like the day-to-day. 30-40 is nothing to sneeze at, okay? And the zone is 2. So that's not terrible. Oh, we're going into Penny now. Penny, my favorite CO. I'm heavily biased. I'm just gonna throw that out there. The most fun CO to play by far in Dailies of Ruin. You know the casino bot. You know how it goes. Terrible day to day, but has a zone radius of 3, above average. Zone radius of 3. You love that shit. Only 10-10 though. Sucks. Be honest there. Nothing else. Until you get the CO power. Penny is completely dependent on her CO powers. If you don't get a CO power during the game, you're gonna lose. 10-10 is not great, even in 3 radius. So you need to get that CO power. Now, when you get the CO power, you don't know what you're gonna get. You might get snow, and you're gonna be so upset and shit your pants. Sometimes you might get rain, and then you go crazy, and then sometimes you get a sandstorm, and your opponent just resigns on the spot. So it really depends, but she's a lot of fun. She's typically better on larger. Well, I don't know. It's weird. You want her to be on a one-front map for the most part, because if there's multi-fronts, it's going to be harder to get her CO power because your opponent can front switch away from where you are. If it's one front map, they can't avoid fighting you head-on-head, and then you can get your CO power a lot easier. Whether there's multiple fronts, they're going to go, oh shit, CO units over here, all the way over here, we're going to fight. Oh, they're over here, all the way over there. So you typically want it on a pretty standard 3 base versus 3 base like this, not a mixed base, not a huge map with like airports and docks and stuff. She's typically worse on naval maps. Greyfield, Wayland, Gage, and stuff are gonna kind of go above her on these large naval maps, because what are you gonna put her in, a tank? And then it's hard to move tanks around and get your CO powers on larger maps. The larger the map, the harder it typically is to get a CO power. So she typically likes smaller maps for the most part. It might be seeming a little counterintuitive because the movement notices the movement changes aren't as noticeable on smaller maps, but for snow at least. But oh, Penny, I love her so much. She's to me top tier 3, bottom tier 2. I love her, bottom tier 2 for me. A lot of people swear by that she's in Wayland's tier. She is hella better than Wayland. I don't care how many doodly-doos Wayland does. Penny's just flat out better. Okay, so if I was to put her here, she'd be ahead of Leyland, but I'm putting her behind Lyn. Just because so dependent on the CO power. If you get the CO power, you have a good chance of winning. If you don't, you're going to lose. So it really depends on whether you get the CO power. Do you get it once? Do you get it twice? Do you get it thrice? Like, it really depends. But I'm going to put her in tier 2 with her little papa. Her kind, loving father who sacrificed her or whatever he did. So, yeah, I love Penny. Next up, we got Gage, and Gage sucks a fat one. I'm just going to throw it out there. He's not the worst, but he's not the best. He's like bad grit. Zone radius of 2, which is average. And then CO units are only indirects and naval units, so he's limited. Whereas Will, basically all ground units. Lyn, all ground units. Forsyth, everything. Calder, everything. I mean, even Wayland gets air units, and this is just naval and indirects. So I guess you're going to have a little more indirects than naval units typically, unless you have a nice B-ship map like that one battle I had versus Advanced Warrior. But for the most part, not very good. And then it's only just a 30-20. Not that great. 30-20, that's just slightly above Forsyth. And the zone radius is 2 instead of 5. So you already know Forsyth is hell a lot better than him. Calder's hell a lot better than him. So you automatically know tier 0, off the chart. However, tier 3, I would say, well, let's talk with the CO power. It's basically just 2+ range and then global things. The global stuff in the zone for every indirect and naval unit on the map. 2+ attack range is nothing to sneeze at. It's pretty decent, but I mean, Isabella gets that shit, and we'll go into detail with her later, but it's pretty good. Her CO power is pretty good. You're going to really have to proliferate a lot of indirect units for it to be very valuable, but he's not terrible, but I'm going to have to throw Gage in the tier 3, and I'd actually put him behind Wayland. Now, why would I put him behind Wayland? Because Wayland is a G. He's got a better song, and yeah, that's about it. No, it's because Gage, I don't know. I think Wayland, the boost, he has the same zone radius, and they're both limited to a certain category of units. But Wayland has more boost. It's a 30-40. Gage is just a little 30-20. Ooh. Just doesn't sit right with me. So anyway, we got Isabella. Isabella tier 0. I'm gonna get that out of the way. Isabella, everything in her CO zone, which is 2, average, 20-20, everything. Everything in the CO zone is 20-20. It's basically like a little worse than Calder's because it's 2 zone in 20-20 and no heals. But the real deal is the superpower, and it's not hard to get a superpower with a zone radius of 2. It's everything, by the way. Everything. Infantry, mechs, planes, tanks, trains, automobiles. Then you get the superpower and you're like, F everything in the world. 2 movement, 2 attack range. She combines will and gauge. And not only will, but everything, not just ground units like will. Everything. 2+ movement. Everything. Air units, ships, what have you. 2+ attack range. Your battleship can move 2 more and shoot 2 more. If she's a battleship, you're getting effectively +4 range, which is insane if you think about it. And just, there's no drawbacks to Isabella. Everything is good. Everything is good. The zone radius is average, no drawback. Day-to-day is good, no drawback. The superpower is insanely broken, no drawback. So typically, Isabella is banned. You might have an argument that she's the top of tier 1 rather than tier 0, but I always ban her in every match just because she's unfair. So I don't like her. Anyway, let's go on to Brenner. Brenner's the opposite of Will. And his zone radius is 3, which is pretty damn good. Zone radius is 3, nothing to sneeze at. And it expands too. It's not just 3, like, oh, I'm full size, I get the zone radius of 5. No. It's 3 and it expands so it can reach 5. And then let's talk about the CO zone. It's basically the opposite of Will. Instead of 30% attack and 10% defense for ground units, Brenner gets 10% of offense, 30% defense. And now you might notice something. It's all units. So automatically it's better than Will. It's not just ground units. It's planes, it's trains, it's the ships, it's everything. And a larger zone radius. Now, if someone was to challenge Isabella to tier 0, it would be Brenner, but I'm putting him in tier 1 ahead of Will. Oh, I didn't even talk about the superpower. The superpower is basically you heal everything +3, and this goes hand in hand. More defense, the units live longer, rewarded by healing those units that live longer. The units just don't freaking die. You got a large zone, more defense, things don't die, you're gonna have unit count, you're just gonna win. Brenner is really good. Very underrated in the main game. I thought he wasn't that good in the main game, but he's hella good. PvP. Hard to kill. Really hard to kill. He's going to have a lot of veteran units because they all get healed. They have a huge zone. It's hard to break even into a zone. You just put like a tank on the outside on a city, it's going to have +50. 30 from the zone, 20 from just being on a city. Forest is +60 defense. Like, it's hard to break even into a zone or kill his CO unit. So once he has a CO unit, it's hard to kill that little shit, okay? It's hard to kill Brenner. Brenner is just a tough little son of a snitch. But he's a good CO. I like playing as him. I don't ban him like I do Isabella, but he's pretty damn good. Now let's talk about Tabitha. Tabitha, one of the funnest COs to play. I would compare her to Kindle in Advanced Wars by Web. You can smash some noobs with her, but she's not overpowered. Now, and like similar to Kindle, she has an incredibly strong day-to-day power. Zone radius, first off, is 0, just meaning the 1 unit she has. Put her in a tank, gets the CO boosts. And those boosts are ginormous. 60, 60. Now, this is before the veterans. So if you get a veterans, you get +20, 20. So it's effectively 80, 80 in 1 unit. You're gonna one-shot tanks with your tank. Your tanks are insanely strong. Put her in a tank, put her in a copter, put her in a duster, I don't care. She's good wherever she goes. Typically I put her in a tank though. It's just cost effective and oh my god. The day-to-day is insane. The thing about Tabitha is, so let's look at her superpower. She very rarely gets her superpower. If she gets her superpower, it's pretty much game over. The thing is, she's not going to pop it. So her superpower does 8 HP of damage to all the units in the 2 zone radius, kind of like mini Sturm Meteor, which is, it's alright. The thing is, you don't want to use it. Because when you use it, you lose all your zone. So you're going to go back to 0. But if you have a zone of 1, everything in that zone has 80, 80, everything. If you have a battleship in that zone, 80, 80. Then you get it to 2, zone radius of 2 after getting enough charge and expands, you win the game. How do you beat that? Everything, 8 units or so in the zone with 80, 80. You cannot win. I'm sorry, you cannot win. How are you gonna break through that? If she gets her zone, if she gets all her energy charge to 60, the game is over. Unless your opponent just sucks a fat one and like vomits all over his keyboard and dies. Like that's the only way you're gonna win. It's crazy. She's insanely strong when she gets enough. When she gets 30, things are trending bad. Things are trending bad. You do not want to let her even expand her zone 1 extra. 2, you're dead. Say good game, rage quit, break your couch, I don't care. But she is really damn good. And she's nothing to sneeze at for sure. So yeah, Tabitha's pretty damn good, but because she's limited to 1 unit, she goes into tier 1, definitely behind Brenner. And there's always a debate. How does she compare to Will? Me, I put her behind Will. Now, why do I put her behind Will? It's all about the zone, baby. Will, zone of 2. I know it's just a 30-10, but the superpower, he can actually use a superpower, and he's going to get a superpower probably once, twice, thrice in a game, just because it's so easy to get kills with him. So he's going to get superpowers, while Tabitha is not. So that's one difference. The thing is, if she gets her superpower, she's going to win. So if you're Will, get your superpowers, but make sure she does not get her superpower, okay? Like, if she gets her superpower, or not even superpower, but she gets the zone expanded so she could use her superpower. Even though if she uses her superpower, she gets global 80-80 for 1 turn, I still don't recommend using it. Even global 80-80, you want to hold on to the 80-80 for 8 units for the entirety of the game. Milk that as much as you can, because then you can just not lose. I'm telling you, you can do whatever you want. You can cap HQs, you can have a field day when it gets to 60 charge. Like, it is no joke. Tabby is a mean old cat rare when she gets to her zone like that. Next up, we got Gravefield. We're getting to the shitty ones now. We're not doing the custom COs either because they suck. I don't like them. Well, talking about Gravefield. Gravefield is one of those entirely map-dependent COs. Now, zone radius is 3. Above average zone radius. Day-to-day, all units 10-10. Naval, seaplanes, battlecopters. Pretty weird combination, but basically just think of it as naval units and then copters. I count seaplanes as whatever. So it's 20, 50. So a lot of defense, kind of like Wayland. These naval units and these seaplanes and battlecopters are typically gonna have more defense. And typically in a normal match, it's gonna mean B-copters. You're gonna put them in a B-copter, unless it's a very heavy naval map. Now, because of most maps are not naval heavy, he typically is not very good. And the reason why, his superpower is the worst thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Everything basically just gets all the fuel, ammo, and material. So basically you get your fuel back, your material. It's like Jess's thing, but you don't get any movement. You don't get any firepower. Well, you get some firepower globally, but not really. It's just bad. You hold on to that shit. You don't use your super CO power unless for some reason your battleship runs out of ammo or some crap. Because of that, Gravefield is bottom tier. He's down in tier 4. Now, heavy naval map, he can immediately shoot up to tier 1. No joke. Some naval maps, he literally is the best CO besides, like, Isabella. Like, crazy good. Just like that, he can just snap. He's really good. If it's a heavy naval map, he is the best. There is no questions asked. He's just as good as Brenner, Isabella, what have you. If there's naval maps or there's a lot of battleships, Rice and Noodles that I did with Advanced Warrior, he would have been OP, man. That would have been really hard to kill. Oh my god, can you imagine trying to kill a battleship with plus 40% defense, 60% defense is a veteran? Oh my god, that would be so impossible. So for now, tier 4, we're talking standard map. We're talking 1 airport, 1 port, 3 bases, medium-sized map. In that scenario, he's tier 4. Now we got Tasha Asha Washa. I don't like her. Truth be told, I haven't played her once. I'm playing in Tiny Wars. She's bad. Let's look at that zone radius. Single zone radius, like Lynn. Not great. Let's look at the increases. 10-10, so it's 50, 30. But it's only air units. So it's like Wayland, but a smaller zone radius and more offense than defense now. She has 50, 30, where Wayland had 30, 40. So a slight increase, but not really that much. More offensive focused, and the zone radius is just 1, which means she's going to be put in the copter and not be really limited in what she could do. She needs at least 2 airports to be decent, and even then, she's not my first pick. I'd pick Wayland before her. I'd pick anyone before her, to be perfectly honest. Like, she's just bad. Like, I don't know. And then the super CO power is just plus 2 movement for only air units. Just air units get plus 2 movement, so it's just very limited. Typically, I don't have more than like 3 battlecopters or like fighters, or not even fighters, but dusters at a time. Maybe 2 battlecopters and a duster, like during most games. And they get 2 movement for a turn, like woohoo! And you get the air unit bonuses and stuff, but like, it's just so bad, and you're not going to get it anyway. You're never going to get that CO thing with the zone radius of 1 and 3 air units. Like, you're not going to get enough charge. You're never going to get your CO power. Wayland, at least, you might get the CO power because you have a zone radius of 2 at least, but like, Tasha's so bad. Therefore, I actually put Tasha behind Greatfield, because Greatfield, he can be a badass when it calls. When this call comes to a naval map, Greatfield, he's like, yeah, I'm a badass. Tier 1, Tier 0, I'm here. Tasha, 5 airports, she's still bad. She's still bad. Wayland's better. Wayland will always be better than her, in my opinion. Always be better. Just not good. I don't like her. Don't like her. Well, her song was alright. Song was actually slightly a little banger. I can't knock her on the song, but not very good. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you guys let me know if you agree with these assessments. Let me know if you disagree. You're probably going to disagree a whole bunch. Let me see if I do have any last minute changes. I could see myself moving Grayfield ahead of Calder. And I could see Penny dropping down to Tier 3 in the top. And I could potentially... No, Gage would stay up there. He's better than these two. Yeah, I'm pretty sure these are static. I don't know how they compare to everyone else in Advanced Wars. Tiny Wars has their own tiers, but they change and everyone argues in the chat all the time. No, this is better than that. I don't really typically argue. I'm just stick to my own intuition and whatnot. This is my only idea. This is my own ideas. This is not... I'm not speaking for the greater Tiny Wars community. This is not official tier list by any means. Just my humble opinion. So let me know if you agree, disagree, and hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.